Thank you very much, Sadhguru, for coming to Australia. My question is regarding, because I've been following most of your videos, so you always mention about the need of collaboration of other people to be successful. So you always mention that to be successful, that's the only time that we need the collaboration of other people. For other things like our energy and our emotions, everything can come from within. My question is that because environment and other people and society and everything can have effects on our emotions as well and our energy, how to manage that and not be affected by the environment? So how to be calm and happy and not be affected by surroundings. So how to separate these things together from each other. Sorry, thank you very much.
This is very often people come to me and say, Sadhguru, I can't stand my mother-in-law, she's impossible. My husband, after all, her son. My wife, she's terrible. My boss, unbearable. Like this. Then I tell them, you come to the yoga center. Your mother-in-law, husband, wife, boss, nobody will come here, just you. We'll give you a nice place to stay, good food to eat. You don't have to do anything. Just stay in your room, we supply food for you, you just live there. Only thing is, I will make random checks on you. When I check, you must be joyful. If you're miserable, I don't believe in feeding misery, we'll stop feeding you. Just 24 hours, you keep them in one place. In how many ways they twist themselves out? Unbelievable. So I'm asking you, all these other people, your neighbors, your mother-in-law, your husband, your wife, your boss, your co-workers, let's banish all of them. All are gone. Whole society is gone, just you on the island of Australia. Blissed out, is it so? Hello? No. If you're alone also, you're miserable, you need to understand this. If you're alone and you're miserable, you're obviously in bad company, isn't it? So this is what you need to do with yourself, that if you sit here, your experience of life is pleasant. Well, you obviously, from what you said, you have probably heard this in some format. See, pleasantness means just this. Body is healthy, it's pleasant. It became very pleasant, this is called pleasure. Mind is pleasant, peaceful, very pleasant, joyful. Emotion is pleasant, love, very pleasant, compassion. Your very life energies are pleasant, bliss, very pleasant, ecstasy. These are all 100% your business, isn't it? Hello? Keeping your body pleasant, thought pleasant, emotion pleasant, energies pleasant is 100% your business. Keeping the surroundings pleasant is a challenge because there are various kinds of people, various kinds of forces. This needs skill, this needs opportunity, this needs… depends what times we exist in, you know. Not always we can do the same things. So creating pleasantness around us needs a certain amount of skill, competence, various things. Things have to fall together, otherwise it won't happen. But pleasantness within you is entirely your business. So if you are feeling very pleasant within you and somebody here is being unpleasant to you, what is the problem? Right now, they can cause pleasantness within you, that's the problem, isn't it? Hello? See, if somebody can decide whether you can be happy or unhappy, this means this is the worst form of slavery, isn't it so? Hello? Somebody can decide what happens within you, what kind of life is this? What happens within you must be entirely yours. What happens around you is never entirely yours, isn't it? Even if you're just two people in the family, does it happen 100% your way? Why are you nodding like this? What is… you're not married then? Even if there are two people, it doesn't happen your way, isn't it? Little bit your way, little bit somebody else's way, little bit this way. I'm glad it doesn't happen all your way, because if everything happened your way, where do I go? Little bit your way, little bit my way, little bit his way, little bit somebody's way. This is the nature of the world. World should not happen 100% your way, but this one life must happen your way, isn't it? Hello? So this has not been done. Now, for you to be happy, you want to fix the whole world. No, I'm telling you, both your joy and misery comes from within you, isn't it? Hello? So if you're miserable, who should be fixed, I'm asking? No, my mother-in-law. If we fix her also, something else will come, somebody else will come. Don't think there's only one mother-in-law in the world. They're all over the place. They're all over the place, and so many people will take on that position. So, if you fix this one person, see, we don't know what great things you will do or not. We do not know whether you will score 380 runs in a test match or not, okay? We don't know. We don't know whether you will run faster than Mr. Bolt or not. We don't know whether you will climb Mount Everest or not. We don't know whether you will become richest man in the world or not, whether you will become the most beautiful woman on the planet or not. We don't know those things. But at least this much you deserve, that your experience of life on this planet is pleasant. This much you deserve, this much must happen, isn't it? Other things are subject to so many realities. That's not always determined by us. There are many things have to fall into place.
Next question, poor old mother-in-law gets a bit of a bad run, doesn't she? There's a species of fish in our water called the mother-in-law, and apparently it even tastes bad. Where's our microphone?
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. My name is Harsha. I'm actually from Melbourne, and I'm very, very lucky to see you here. And hello to Matt, yourself. I'm a big fan of yours as well, like many of us here are.
Thank you, thanks.
Sadhguru, my question is about boundlessness. Earlier today you mentioned that there is something within us that is seeking to express in different ways, and it comes as different forms. Every morning when I get up, there are always two voices at least, and while I know that… I'm sorry, one of the things that you said is ultimately you'll have to come to yoga because you've tried everything. Every morning when I get up, I find that there's these two voices. It says, you have time, and sometimes it says, you don't have time.
You're married?
Yes.
I understand what's the other voice.
So Sadhguru, I think my question to you after knowing you for a bit, and also we were talking about life sort of continuing in death and so on and so forth. The question I suppose is, well, how much time do we really have? I mean, and of course, why it's not there in my experience? Because every morning when I still get up, I'm like, yep, I've got time, I can get to yoga one day or the other, and still be able to make it. But the reality seems to me that, there is not much time.
See, first and foremost thing that you need to understand is you're an individual. An individual means you're not further divisible. This is it, this is one unit. In this body, there's one person or two people? Hello? Don't look at your wife and say that, you tell me it's okay. One or two? Only one. If you're feeling two, this means you're either schizophrenic or you're possessed. You need either a psychiatrist or an exorcist. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do this two-voice business because initially it looks like good entertainment. After some time, if it takes on, it's very painful. Mental illnesses are not fun. Everybody plays with it. See, when you get angry with somebody and what you want happened, what do you tell your friend? You know, I got mad with him and he did what I wanted. Well, you got mad temporarily and you came back. Suppose you couldn't come back. It'll happen one day if you keep crossing the line too often, because the line between sanity and insanity is very thin. If you cross it, one day if you're not able to come back, see, between health and ill health, is it very thin, the line? Any moment, things can happen to us. Either from outside or inside, something can happen. Similarly, the line between sanity and insanity is very thin. Most people don't realize this, how thin it is. Don't walk on that line, keep away from that line. Stay on the sanity side. It's very important that you don't get mad temporarily at somebody because you crossed, and if you can't come back, what do? Then you're gone, isn't it? So two voices are not good. There's only one person here. Only one, right? Only one inside. This is an individual. You cannot further divide this. The moment you divide this, you're asking for ill health of some kind. Don't do that. Now, how much time do I have? Well, one voice is saying you got time. So eliminate the other one, you don't have time. So this is not about fun, but I want you to understand this. It's like this. If you… Can I tell you a story? Okay? Because you think this is a serious question. I want you to just understand this one thing. Why a whole lot of human beings have become a mess is they've taken themselves too seriously. They don't understand. Before they came here, countless number of people lived on this planet and no sign of them, they're all topsoil now. And this one also will be topsoil. You're just a small pop-up. Hello? You're just a small pop-up and you'll pop out. But you are taking yourself too seriously. Believe me, if the whole solar system evaporates tomorrow morning, it is not even mist in the universe, that's how big it is. And that's how small we are. So don't take yourself too seriously. Yes, this life is important for us. Why? Because every life is seeing how to find its full potential. For that it's important. Not thinking something big of you is there in this world, nothing like that. See, if there were dinosaurs in Australia, they would treat you just like ants, isn't it? Suppose you're walking on the street, a colony of ants are going, you just step on it and go. One guy is dead, one guy is half dead, one guy is cut into half. You don't care because they're just ants. So if they were bigger animals than you, they would treat you the same way. They wouldn't even eat the whole of you. They wouldn't even treat you with any dignity. They would just eat one part and throw the other part and go on. Like how you waste food, they would also do it. So much population. Now if the dinosaur comes, he has a feast. Isn't it? So do not take yourself so seriously. This is the biggest problem, that you have taken yourself too seriously. You're just a small pop-up. The important thing is just this, it is the generosity of creation that it's given you an individual experience. Do not misunderstand that. Do not misunderstand this is to make you significant. This is just to understand life is significant, that's all. You just a bubble. You just a bubble, it'll pop anytime. Well, it may last 100 years. 100 years is nothing in the world. Hello? You may think 100 years I lived long and I did so many things. Nothing, many idiots on this planet thought like you and me. They thought they are very important too. Alexander the Greats have come, where are they? So they were telling me about, I was in Greece and they were saying, Alexander went to India. I said, don't worry. He came to India all right, but an Indian mosquito, that too a female. Go on, the emperor. He died of malaria. So do not underestimate a small mosquito, it can kill you.
See, we've found something worse than a mother-in-law then, haven't we?
No, that there is a thing about… Why are we going against mother-in-laws?
Oh, I don't know. We need to move on.
Yeah. Between in-laws and outlaws, outlaws are wanted.
We need a mic somewhere. I can point, but…
See, mother means how much attachment and emotion is there. Say mother-in-law means so much problem. Just… we need to look at this. Why are we like this?
Please,
May I ask the question here, right here, please?
Right here.
Yeah, it's a little… Sadhguruji, thank you very much for your enlightening, speech this evening. Thanks, Matthew. I got a little bit technical question in terms of, I know the boundary, when you say boundaries, probably the memory is one of the biggest boundary. And you mentioned Patanjali earlier. Patanjali, in a funny way, he says, Anubhuta Vishaya, Asambha Moshaha Smutaya, as a thing that, as a part of a chitta. And again at the same time he says, Shraddha, Virya, Smruti, Samadhi Prajna, Purvaka Itaresham. So he wants it for you to have the memory, at the same time, it is the boundary we have to come out of. Can you please explain?
Oh, you like the question, huh?
it'd want to be a good answer. The expectations clearly are high.
Let's chew some fat on this one.
Yeah, there you go. In the middle of whoop whoop.
See, you are who you are only because of memory. There's conscious memory, there is unconscious memory, articulate and inarticulate levels of memory, there is genetic memory, there is evolutionary memory, there is elemental memory, atomic memory, everything is built into this.
Muscle memory. Muscle memory.
That is what I said, inarticulate memory, it is there. Your entire head to toe is just memory. You don't remember consciously how your great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother looked 10 generations ago, but his or her nose is sitting on your face right now, it's not forgotten for a moment. Hello? It even remembers the skin tone, how your forefathers were a million years ago, still remembers everything, isn't it? So your structure is like this because of memory. Your body is memory. Every cell in your body has more memory than your brains has, 1,000,000 times more actually. So this, what you call as me is just memory. If you lose your memory, you don't know who you are, isn't it? And the only thing that most people are suffering is their memory. See, it's only the human beings who have such a vivid sense of conscious memory. Even a grasshopper has memory, but conscious memory is very little in him. But you have a vivid sense of conscious memory. Because of this, life and life's experience is rich. Of course, today all the memory is on your phone. But even those machines that we created of computers and phones and whatever, is only to enhance our memory, isn't it? Because we saw the value of memory. So memory is the maker of who you are. You are who you are only because of your memory. If there's no memory, right now if your memory goes away, you don't know who is your mother, who is your father, who is your husband, who is your wife, who is your children, where you belong, your nation, your race, religion, nothing. Everything is in your memory, isn't it so? Including your God and devil, all in your memory, yes or no? If you lose memory, you don't know anything. So memory is a tremendous possibility. At the same time, it is a boundary. It's a certain knowledge that you've accumulated, information that you've accumulated. So in yoga, we have a very powerful tool. This will be a little hard for you to chew. See, your knowledge, you are well educated. Let us say you studied all the libraries on the planet. Still, your knowledge is a minuscule compared to this cosmos, isn't it so? If you identify with that minuscule of knowledge, you will become a minuscule, because what you identify with, you become that in some way, isn't it? Whatever you identify with strongly, you become that. If you identify with your minuscule knowledge, you become a minuscule existence. But our ignorance is boundless. If you identify with your ignorance, you will become boundless because there are no borders for your ignorance. Your knowledge has a boundary, your ignorance has no boundary, isn't it? But it takes a certain amount of dispassion and involvement in the life that you are to come to this space where you identify with your ignorance. If you identify with your ignorance, your intelligence cannot sleep, it'll be always on. See, right now if I ask any one of you to walk from here to there, you will effortlessly walk because you can see. Suppose we turn off the lights and it's pitch dark. Now if I ask you to walk, now you're super alert, isn't it? Hello? You're super alert. Matt was telling me, when he's batting, it's like meditation because it's not a ball, it's a missile. It's on the television, it's a ball. On the pitch, it's a missile, somebody's trying to knock your head off. Yes, it's a hard ball, it's coming anywhere between 125 to 150, 60 kilometers per hour, and it doesn't come straight, it pitches and takes its own shape, whichever way it wants, or whichever way the other monster intends. It's a hard game. People are watching on the television and thinking cricket is some nice game. It's a very hard game and it's a missile. You just have a split second. If you're not super alert, you're gone. Either you go to the pavilion or go to the hospital. These days, there is a helmet, you don't go to the morgue. One time they went to the morgue, now they go to the hospital with a broken bone or something. So, this is the same. The moment you do not know what's going to happen right now, you're super alert, isn't it? Hello? It's pitch dark, you don't know where your foot is going. Super alert or no? This is what ignorance means. This is the power or this is the intelligence of ignorance, that if you identify with your ignorance, your intelligence cannot sleep. Even if your body sleeps, it cannot sleep, it's always on. But if you identify with your knowledge, it sleeps because knowledge is a kind of conclusion you have drawn. Once you draw a conclusion, you will sleep. Sleep is a shorter version of death, isn't it, in a way? Hello? You're dead to the world. Well, you come back tomorrow morning, but at that point you don't exist, the world doesn't exist when you're fast asleep. So, in a way you're dying. How long you die in a day is up to you. If you're dying 8 hours a day, that means 1/3 of your life you've been dead. So, if your intelligence becomes super alert, you will see one first thing that will happen to you is your sleep quota will come down dramatically. Because you become more and more conscious because you are identified with your ignorance. If you understand, I do not know, if you really… it sinks into you that I do not know, now this is a tremendous possibility. Only if you see I do not know, the longing to know, the seeking to know, and the possibility of knowing becomes a reality, isn't it? Everything I do not know, I just believe. It doesn't matter who said it, Patanjali said it, anybody said it. You don't know. Hello? Isn't it? You don't know. When you do not know, if you really allow this to sink into you, actually you do not know a damn thing about anything in this universe. That's a fact, isn't it? For practical purposes we know, but existentially we don't know a damn thing. Now, you are naturally identified with your ignorance means, naturally you're a seeker, you can't help. Always your intelligence is probing everything that it sees because you know that you do not know. But reading high school textbook, if you think you know entire world, then there is a problem. Lot of people have gotten into this state in the name of science. They read high school textbook and they think they're scientists. This happened in UK. It's a social situation. Oh, why? We'll shift it to Australia. The scene.
Came a long way.
A social situation where a lot of people, socialites were there, but a scientist also was there. He was not dressed like them, with not much care to his outward appearance. So they sat at the dinner table, a very high-fashion socialite lady sat next to him. And may I ask you, what do you do? He said, I study science. Oh, I was done with that in my high school. So as scientist understands, he's still studying science. Only others think he's a scientist. He knows he is studying science because the more you explore, the more you realize how ignorant you are. It's not that more knowledgeable you will become, more you realize how profound is your ignorance, how boundless is your ignorance. So, this entire dimension of moving into an intelligence which is beyond memory, the first and foremost step is this, that you're not identified with what little you know, you're identified with that which you do not know. Now, your intelligence is on. Slowly, it will become free from memory. Because memory means repetitiveness, isn't it? Hello? Memory means repetitiveness, the same thing's happening again and again. If memory determines the nature of your experience, which usually does, and for 90% or more of the people, their memory decides the nature of their experience. For this we say traditionally in India, karma case. You're sitting here, stomach is full or empty, whichever way, nothing wrong, nobody's shooting bullets at you, you're fine, but you're little. Why? You're chewing your own fat. Am I getting it?
Yeah. Maybe that's where it came from.
So, you're chewing your own memory and making yourself happy or unhappy, whichever way. Both ways, your karma. Karma means action. Action means the residual action which remains within you is memory. Memory is not just conscious, it is at all levels. This residual memory is right now deciding the trajectory of your life. To become free from that is a whole effort, which in complicated language he said, and you all liked it. The important thing is, you break free from this residual impact. If you live out of your memory, no new possibilities are there. You will do the same things in permutations and combinations, but the same thing. If something absolutely new has to happen to you, you must be beyond your karmic memory. Everything that's stored in you, your genetic memory, your evolutionary memory, you rose beyond that. Now you have a completely new vision of life. This is something that is possible for every human being. Only thing is, they've never paid attention to that. just not paid attention to those aspects, that's all. Otherwise, it is not the exclusive right of any specially made human beings. It's equally possible. I want you to understand this. When it comes to external situations, maybe all of you cannot take a cricket bat and do what Matt does. Maybe you cannot take a motorcycle and do what I do. Or maybe you can't run like somebody else, or you can't do something else like someone else. When it comes to external realities, we are all differently capable, isn't it? Hello? Is it a wrong word to use on you? Every one of us is differently capable when it comes to the outside world. But when it comes to the inner dimensions, all of us are equally capable. It is just that most people have never paid attention. They still believe that by fixing what's around them, life will be fine. But I want you to understand this much. Compared to how people lived in this world a few generations ago, let's say 1,000 years ago, or even 100 years ago, today, in terms of comfort and convenience, are you not way ahead? Nobody even dreamt these things were possible. Yes or no? But still we're complaining. So much arrangement, so much arrangement that we're ripping the planet apart. But still, can you claim, are you more joyful or more blissful than how people were 100 years ago? Can you? You're more comfortable for sure. You know conveniences that nobody knew. What even royalty could not afford. All of you are having, most of you are driving chariots with 400, 600 horses. Huh? Yes or no? But life has not changed, you must understand, it doesn't matter how much arrangements you make. And also you must remember, in the end there is no container service, this is just for your information. There's no container service, because most homes have turned into warehouses. Just reminding you.
Where's our mic, roving mic gone?
Right here. Well, I hope I don't sound silly asking this question. How do you think positively in circumstances or, external factors that are very negative? If I term it like that. I'll give you a specific
No, don't, I
situation.
understand those situations.
This is relevant to my question. I'm giving you a specific, situation here. For example, you find out that your mother or a close relative have been diagnosed with a, serious life-threatening disease. How do you cope? How do you think positive? How do you stay stable there? Thank you.
I know when somebody dear to us, their life is threatened or something comes to them, injury, accident, disease, well, it will cause distress to yourself. But I want you to understand this. See, this is the nature of life. This is what I've been trying to remind you from the beginning in this last whatever hour and a half, that we need to understand this is a fragile happening, this life. Right now it's on. The design of this life is such, see, inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation, next inhalation did not happen, this is gone. Back to the pavilion. You did nothing wrong, you just stood there, but back to the pavilion many times, isn't it? No bad shot, nothing, simply, it just nicked by itself and went off. So this is the case, this is the nature of our existence. It is just that when somebody is dear to us, we get so emotionally wrapped by this. This is simply because You have only one or two or three or four people who are dear to you. I live a life where so many, I don't know the number, so many people are very intimately, very profoundly involved with me on a daily basis. So in my life, how many people that are dear to me I have buried? Don't ask me. It's happening all the time, all right? So right now, the reason why you go through life the way you go through life is because your involvement is very selective, very discriminatory. Only this one person you will involve because I identify her as my mother. Only that person because I identify him as my brother. But if you knew larger involvement with life, you would understand almost every day you lose somebody who is very dear to you. Yes, this is the case with me. Does it mean to say you have no emotion? Does it mean to say there is no sense of loss? No, all this is there. All of it is there. It is just that if you are in terms with the realities of your existence, you live one way. This is what I was trying to tell you in the beginning itself. You think your psychological world is bigger than the existential creation. What this means is, your creation has become more significant than the Creator's creation. Once this happens, inevitably you will suffer. If somebody is ill around us, what do? We do our best to turn them around if it's possible. If you cannot turn them around, you let them go gracefully. This is all you can do. Whether you cry, laugh, turn yourself on your, upside down, do whatever the hell you want. This is all that will happen, isn't it so? The question is just this, whatever comes our way in our life, life will come, birth will come, death will come, disease will come, defeat will come, victory will come, all kinds of things will come if you're living an active life. Will you handle it gracefully or will you make a mess out of it? That's all the choice you have, isn't it? Do you have any other choice, I'm asking you? Whatever life throws at you is not your choice. What you make out of it is 100% your choice, isn't it? This choice you must exercise. This choice you must exercise. What life throws at you is not your choice. Who knows what kind of ball is the next ball? You don't know. What life throws at you is not your choice. What you make out of it is your choice. This is the power of being human, that you can make what you want out of it. If I'm saying, I know this is very hurtful what I'm saying, but you must decide whether you want solace or you want a solution to your life. I am not somebody who will say pretty words and give solace. I do that only to children. With children, if they say something, okay, we'll hug them, hold them, do this. Well, if somebody is in grief, even if they're adults, because when they're in grief, they become like children. So we treat them like children. But you must decide in your life whether you want solace or solution to your life. If you want solution, there is one way to approach. If you just want solace, we can give pretty words, but what will they do? With all the pretty words, I will die, you will die, isn't it? Solution is just this, we come to terms. This is why I'm saying, from being a physiological and psychological drama, you have to become a phenomena of life. That's what you really are. What is the most important thing in your life right now? That you're alive right now, isn't it so? Hello? Is it the most important thing? Life is the most important thing. Not what you wear, not what you parked outside, not the home that you're living in, not anything else, not your thought and emotion. What is most important is the life that you are. But how much attention has gone into that dimension of life? If your attention was for that, you would see your involvement with life would be indiscriminate. Once your involvement is indiscriminate, you will learn to handle everything gracefully. Right now when you're in distress, when somebody dear to you is ill, this sounds cruel, I know that. But I'm still taking the risk of saying this to you, because I want you to ponder upon this, because this is all the choice we have. We don't have a choice to decide what life throws at us. We have a choice to decide what we make out of it.
Isn't it? I think we've got time for another question.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. Actually, I was to be over there for a few seconds. There's a thing I want.
What's that?
I just want to be over there for a few seconds.
Oh, no, you can ask the question from there.
Can I be over there for a few seconds?
Oh, then why did you take the microphone? Microphone is to speak long distance. So you don't go next to somebody and take phone and talk to each other. Please, somebody who has a question. This lady.
Hi Sadhguru, welcome to Australia. And I have a question. Sometimes we get in a situation when we're surrounded by people who have a very high expectation in terms of us. And when we cannot fulfill the expectation, you start to feel a very terrible feeling of guilt. And it's okay when it's your mother-in-law, you can kind of cope with that, but sometimes it's your parents, for example.
I have no problem, I have nothing against her, I just joking.
Yeah. And sometimes it's the people who's very close to you, like your parents, and you cannot really fulfill the expectation because you would like to do in your life what you want to do, and obviously it's not what they want. And how to cope with that feeling of guilt, and also what do you think, what kind of relationship should be between the parents and the children? Thank you.
That reminds me of something. See, one thing is, it's not just between parents and children, just about every relationship, everywhere. People have all kinds of weird expectations. It's like this. A lady went to the butcher's shop and all this chicken which were hanging upside down, dressed chicken. Poor chicken, feathers are their dress. You rip it off and say they're dressed. So she went to this chicken and lifted one leg, smelled, wrinkled her nose, lifted a wing, wrinkled her nose, like this she was going from chicken to chicken. It was having an effect on the rest of the customers. So the butcher saw it's having an effect, so he went and tapped on her shoulder. She turned around. So he asked, "Ma'am, can you pass a test like that?" So a whole lot of people are always busy putting everybody to tests that they themselves cannot pass. Especially parents. Parents think all the things that they could not do, they must achieve through their children. So they should have bred racehorses. I want you to understand this. Children are not your property. It's a privilege, another life came through you. You must enjoy it. Do your best to nourish it. What it becomes is not your business. Your business is to support it, create a wonderful atmosphere around it, create an ambience where it grows well. I'm using the word it consciously. Like a tree, like a plant, you just create the nourishment that it needs, it grows. Well, is it going to bear apples, pears, mangoes, or just flowers, or just nothing? We don't know. Only thing is, your wish is, they must grow to their full potential. They are not an extension of your ambitions. They're not, and they need not be. So, this is because people think they own their children. No, they're not your property. I think these days they're telling you, older generation hesitated to say this. This generation, by the time they're 10, they're telling you, you got no business to tell me what to do. So does it mean to say you don't say anything to them? No, it's your business to see, because if you don't guide them, somebody else will on the street. Or somebody will do it long distance on the internet, all kinds of creatures are out there. All right. So yes, to protect them, to nourish them, to allow them to explore their possibilities, it is your business to do that as a parent. But parents' concern may be, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen? My dear father, he's 95, he's a physician. In his mind, that generation of Indians will understand that. Unless you become a physician, you're no good. So I was no good. But that was good for me, because when you're no good, nobody pays enough attention, that's all I wanted. That they leave me alone. So, I'm just saying, you know, he's always worried, what will happen to this boy? His concern is this boy has no fear in his heart, what will happen? So one day when I was 11 years of age, he said this, you know, I came home with a 12-foot cobra, he was my friend. And he said, this boy has no fear in his heart, what will happen? Then I asked him, when did fear become a virtue? When did this happen? He said, see, I told you he has no fear in his heart. I said, that's fine, but when did fear become a virtue? Why is it like this? Why fear, anger, all these things have become virtues, is it? Tell me, when you go through fear, is it fantastic? Hello? It's one of the most terrible emotions you can go through. Why are we thinking that we should be fearful of our future, not only of your future, of anything that you do, and you're even God-fearing, all right? Fearful about everything. What is the point? There is no such thing. There is no such thing that this generation should be an extension of the previous generation. This generation should do something that previous generation could not imagine. That is when there is a purpose to this generation, isn't it? Otherwise, what's the point if you're going to do the same things? Well, if you want to do something that you really want to do, if you think you're going to do it with everybody's approval, I'm sorry, life doesn't happen that way. It is just that whatever the hell you want to do, just do it well. Once there is success, your parents and your uncles and your aunts, everybody says, wonderful. All right. They want success, they're only afraid. They have every right to be concerned about you. They have every right, because they brought you up. They're concerned whether you will do well or not. They have every right to be concerned. But that concern should not become control.
What event, decision, experience, or period has had the most profound impact on your life?
You're asking Matt, right?
No, I'm asking you. I would like to know, please.
Oh, this has been spoken of many times, isn't it? Experience, influence, see, this is the only thing I did with my life. I was in United States and this lady comes up to me and says, I've been doing yoga for over 35 years, nothing happened to me. You just went and sat on that rock. All this happened to you. Where is the damn rock? And now the rock is becoming famous. Like, for Gautama the Buddha, the Bodhi tree became more famous than the Buddha. I must tell you this experience. I was in Coimbatore many years ago, about almost 25, 30 years ago, and I go to somebody's house for lunch. And this lady says, Sadhguru, I have a Bodhi tree in my backyard. I sit and meditate under that. Can you come and bless my tree? I say, please water the tree, I will bless you. She said, no, you must come and bless the tree. I thought, let me go into the backyard. I am always an outdoor man. So I walked out. Then I looked around, I did not see any Bodhi tree, there were 3 coconut trees. But I did not see any Bodhi tree. Then I asked her, where is the Bodhi tree? Then she takes me to one place. There is one stick which is about 6, 7 feet tall with about 5 leaves. Under that she's put one stone plate and on which she sits and meditates under the Bodhi tree. I looked at this Bodhi tree and said, see, this Bodhi tree does not have much possibility. If you at least sit under the coconut tree, something could happen. Under coconut tree, things happen. Because when you're in this state, what you need is a knock on your head. So, what is the most significant influence? This is all I did in my life. From early childhood, I did not allow either family, my genetics, my social situations, the religious situation around me, political situations around me, whatever around me, I did not allow myself to be influenced by any of those things. This is why I keep repeating, I am an uneducated guru, because I refuse to be educated. To remain uneducated is not easy. Yes, sir, because from the moment you're born, everybody wants to teach you something that's not worked in their life. It's a compulsive need in adults the moment they see. When my daughter was 3.5 months old, I would drive alone with her all across India, with my one hand on her, my right leg heavy. This is the time when I'm building Isha Foundation, I'm driving across the country. Every day I'm with a new family. Then I noticed everybody is desperate to teach something to her. I said, please, nobody teaches her anything. No ABC, no 1, 2, 3, no Mary had a little lamb. I don't want any of these things. Then people said, Sadhguru, you're not letting anybody teach anything. What will happen to this girl? This girl won't know even how to count her fingers. I said, I don't care if she cannot count her fingers. As long as she knows how to use her fingers, what do I care? She thinks this is 1,000,000, what's my problem? As long as she knows how to use her fingers. So, and I don't care whether Mary had a lamb or not. So, I said, nobody teach her anything. Because nobody is teaching her anything. See, it is by constantly looking down on the child, you know what is this, you know what is that, the child feels smaller and smaller and smaller. Because nobody spoke to her in those terms. She thought everybody is her friends. She's 2.5, 3 years, she thinks all the adults are her friends, she talks to them like they're her friends. By the time she's 18 months, she's fluently speaking 3 languages, very fluently. Because nobody's teaching her anything, she's all ears listening to everything around her. Well, I wouldn't have sent her to school, but my schedules and my travels, didn't allow that. So I sent her to a school where there's least amount of schooling. One day she came back from school, she was around 13 years of age and she was little upset about what happened in the school. Then she comes and tells me, "You're teaching everybody so many things, you're not teaching me anything." I said, "See, I'm not known to do anything unsolicited. Now that you have come, you sit down, we'll see." I said, "See, this is all you need to know. You never look up to anybody." She looked at me like this, "What about you?" kind of look. I said, "Especially me, because if you look up to me, you will miss it completely. What will you do? Maybe take my picture and nail it on your wall. That's all you will do. You got to see me the way I am. If you see me the way I am, every moment of my life, it'll be of great significance to you. If you look up to me, you will exaggerate. Never look up to anybody, never look down on anybody. This is all. Is that all? That is all." See, if you look up to something, you will make up things in your mind. If you look down on somebody, you will make up nonsense in your head. If you don't do these two things, you will see everything just the way it is. If you see everything just the way it is, you will effortlessly navigate through life. This is all you have to do. Don't worry about what is significant. This is the most significant aspect of my life. I never looked up to anything, nor looked down on anything in my life. I looked at everything just the way it is. This is all you need to do. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Probably Matt is more loud in India than in Australia. It's wonderful to have you here, Matt. Fantastic.
thank you, sir. Thank you. It'd be very easy to listen to Sadhguruji all evening, but unfortunately we are out of time. So on behalf of us all, thank you for gracing our shores. You're a very special human being.
Tell me, what should I tell the Tamil boys?
You can tell them from me that I will be back in business with them very shortly. That's what you can tell them. Surfing,
about the water,
cooking.
What about the water?
About the water?
Yeah, what they should do, the Tamil boys
Easy as this.
and girls.
Spend a little bit of their own money to invest into some trees, and we're all in business, aren't we?
Thank you. And,
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
If you don't know this, don't tell anybody. I make the best masala dosa in the world.
Well, you can be sure of this, I'll take you up on that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.